And Hannes, from what you're seeing, are stablecoins actually already becoming practical payment rails for businesses?
Yes, definitely they are. So if we say that stable coins are stable, then definitely the biggest or like top three, four top stable coins, definitely they are holding majority, and we see like even quite big companies are already accepting, sending out, making like transactions using stable coins, and because as I mentioned before, there's a reason they are not doing it because they like it. There's if you are like enthusiast, you are doing sometimes things that you like, but there's real need, and that's why they are doing it.
Mm-hmm. And Uwe, as stablecoin adoption now grows, what kind of compliance and regulatory challenges become more important?
So, I mean, basically, it's the same set of regulations that govern fiat payments need, or they already apply to stablecoin payments. So now it's a question of how can stablecoin processors comply with this pretty broad set of rules. So again, we've mentioned sanctions and watch screening. You can do on-chain analytics, obviously, which is part and parcel of stablecoin transactions. But something that is done far less is transaction monitoring to identify anomalies, such as again for money laundering or maybe fraud purposes, and the source of wealth checks. So if somebody is suddenly getting onboarded who wants to make a big transfer, or a former already onboarded client wants to suddenly make a transfer that is far bigger than their wallets would imply, then all of these things have to be implemented. And ultimately, there is good news for the industry because for fiat, we had years to develop the regulations, transitional periods to adopt the tools, build the technologies, all of that. And crypto now has a very short amount of time to do that. But luckily, the technology exists. So, honestly, the way we look at it is that you can use this orchestration layer for all the different data streams and the risk scoring solutions. CryptoSwift would offer that type of orchestration for the different capabilities. And everything together is actually not that difficult. It's just a question of having, implementing maybe 4 or 5 tools. And because it is highly automated and the cost of the technology has come down a lot, then it doesn't have to be prohibitively expensive. So something that was maybe only affordable to banks 10 years ago now can be affordable to an up and coming payment institution or fintech. So I'm not afraid of, or I wouldn't be afraid of these regulations once the companies reach a certain scale.
That's a very good answer because seeing from the MiCA regulation side, the cost for the compliance and everything, if you're not scaled enough and you're a small company, you just don't have the funds to be that compliant and to cover all the costs. So yes,
Yeah.
now we
And,
lost.
and
Yes.
yeah, just to comment on that, I think it is also one of the maybe difficult news, but for the regulators, having only larger players survive is probably part of the design of the regulation because small players at low volumes don't have the resources to fight crime. And for regulators, it's much easier to eliminate the small players. It comes at the cost of innovation and maybe certainly job creation and all of that. But it is a much easier market to govern and to make sure that this new breed of companies complies with the regulations that have been introduced for a reason.
And I think eventually it will help along for the adoption as well, because the regular people now see way less of those companies that are now all regulated, and they know that they can, trust more. They're less likely to get scammed and lose their money, etc. So
Exactly.